Welcome to another edition of Bond Memories. I'm Paul Scravo, and I've been busy digitizing old videotapes of Bond events. And right now I have for you Bond Collectors Weekend in Chicago. Not sure of the exact date, early 2000s, I think. Matt Sherman, who coordinated the Bond Collectors Weekend, always knocked it out of the park, and this one in Chicago is no exception. I hope you recognize a lot of fellow Bond fans, including two gentlemen of accomplishment, Doug Redenius and Raymond Benson. So I hope you enjoy Bond Collectors Weekend in Chicago. Now, I screwed up the camera settings somehow. I apologize for that. Some of this footage is too overexposed. Sorry about that. But I hope you can still have some fun watching it. Thank you.
A couple of the James Bond women.
Yes, I have nothing to say.
Different movies.
Don't you have one thing to say that you told us?
James!
You can turn off the charm, Mr. Bond. I'm immune.
Oh, I gotta watch the CD. The TV production.
Plumbing is great.
If I can determine that I'm able to do the deactivation and reactivation without permanently damaging it, that's the way I'll go. You see the man?
Go. It was really fantastic.
Excellent.
Okay, guys, look out. Okay, who's the real Bond, huh?
Well, the man with photos. Over against.
Yeah, he was telling me. Isn't that great? Yeah, he had him with him at the presentation. Oh, wow.
Look at him.
Hans, here is the key. When it explodes.
There you go.
Hey Paul, how you doing?
Good time?
Great time, thank you. It's my first one.
Your favorite soundtrack's Majesty?
Absolutely. I'm having a terrific time, really. It's my first one and this is just great. I can't wait for the next one. I gotta wait to go to the next one too.
By the home of Ian Fleming. They even got to look at the Millennium Dome lit up at night. Their evening ended at the Tower of London at a medieval banquet, recalling how one used to dine with the king.
again.
I will, probably.
I don't have much left.
I can remember. I think Gail made it.
Down to 2 items plus card.
The reason that you're all here this weekend, and you can thank your host Matt for putting this together in such a short period of time, is 5 of these vehicles are leaving for 2 years. They'll be gone. This vehicle, the Bathos sub, the wet bike, and the tow sled are all going to England. In a boat show in Southampton in September. They'll go into storage for a while, then they'll go to a boat show in Earl's Court, which is in the center of London. Then they'll be moving to the Bewley Museum, which is in the south coast of England, which is a very prestigious museum. There's a big Bond exhibit there at the moment. Now, I'll start out by telling you a few things that aren't here, unfortunately. We own the Lotus submarine car from The Spy Who Loved Me, and that's now in the Bewley Museum. That's right. We actually have a motorcycle taxi from Octopussy that's currently being refurbished and painted, so it's out of the picture. We own 2 more Parahawks. We felt it was a little bit of overkill to bring all of them down here. For sure. And we also just bought 2 weeks ago this 1974 Hornet from the Man with the Golden Gun.
Oh, cool.
And unfortunately that is still with the owner, and we haven't been able to bring that over. But I'll start at the very beginning down here. The Neptune submarine is the very first vehicle that we got. It was at a place called the Intrepid Aircraft Carrier Museum in New York. It didn't have any sort of military significance, so the Aircraft Carrier Museum was going to dump it in the ocean, and they were going to use it to dive down to. So they called Cubby Broccoli, and Cubby told John Parkinson, and John Parkinson called us and said, "You want to buy a submarine?" So we bought it for $3,000, and the whole upper structure was collapsed and had been crushed. The whole superstructure was rusted out. So we painstakingly scraped and welded and rebuilt everything. So that was the first piece we got, and that was in 1991. The props are very special to me. The phones that were used in the films, and this was actually used during the fight scene in Twine. They're very special, but because they're props from the novel, they really mean a lot. So have a look. This is actually a really nice piece, only because I'm a fanatical cigar smoker, as Georgianne knows. So, this is actually the tube that they used in Twine that he gives to Moneypenny, and she whips it into the garbage can. So it's actually, we bought one to compare to see how close they were, and there are some differences. So just wanted to see what the real and the film version look like. If you have any questions, there are 3 people in here that will be able to answer any of your questions. Ed and Fraser, and Laura disappeared. So
What's that?
I thought maybe I'd just tell you a little bit about my process, what I do to write one of these things, and then I'll just open it up to, heavy-duty question and answering. And I welcome this group to really, challenge me on some things if you want to. If you have some beefs about the books, then ask me about them, or if you whatever.
Well, if I may, what do y'all think about the books? And aren't they getting more and more incredible?
Yes. Nice to hear that. I know it's not an opinion that's widely shared, but I appreciate that. Ian Fleming, when he wrote a book, he had a routine that he followed. He would go to Jamaica every January, February, and he would write a first draft. And when he wrote the first draft, he would write continuously without looking back at what he'd written. I think this is what established what I called in the Bedside Companion the Fleming sweep. He would just write that first draft, just plowing through each chapter without looking back, just keeping a momentum going. And I think this helped in creating the speed and the rhythm of a Bond book. Then, after the 2 months was done, he'd have the first draft finished. He'd go back to England. Then he would rewrite, polish, add things, add more detail. But that initial first draft writing, he did it feverishly. And I try to do the same thing. It all starts usually around October for me. We start about a year and a half ahead of publication date. In October, I'm required to write an outline of the story. And this is approved by Glidrose, the people who run Ian Fleming's literary estate. The outline is the most difficult part of the process. That's where I lay down in 16 to 18 single-space pages the entire book, basically, in block paragraphs. Each paragraph represents a chapter. And it takes me about 3 months to do just those 16 pages. I carefully plan it out. I start by trying to find where I'm going to set the book. This can occur several ways. Sometimes I just look at a map and I pick a spot that I think the UK might be interested in, some kind of hot spot like Hong Kong or Gibraltar.
Just wondering, I know both Fleming and Gardner did an experimental book, Spy Who Loved Me and Man from Barbarossa. Do you ever think about doing an experimental?
I think I have. I think Double Shot was definitely an experiment.
I was thinking more in lines of like maybe a Bond period book set.
Well, I don't think they'd want to do that. I feel like High Time to Kill was an experiment and Double Shot was an experiment. High Time to Kill, I really played with the almost with the genre in a way, because it started off as a Bond story and then it became something else with this Himalaya adventure part.
Successfully too.
Well, thanks.
That's wonderful.
In Double Shot, I really wanted to have a Bond story where he wasn't operating at 100%. He's impaired. He's got something wrong with him. He's making mistakes. And I've received a lot of flack about it. A lot of fans have said Bond was a jerk in Double Shot. Well, that was the point. That's what I wanted to do. I thought that would be interesting for a change.
And his blackouts when he's in danger.
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
Kind of a stick idea.
Well, some fans just didn't like it, and well, it's tough.